Hello Bookish friends, welcome to the first wrap-up of the month of September. In this wrap-up, I will talk about the 7 works that I finished in the first half of September. And like I did in my previous wrap-ups, I will insert the clips that I recorded very soon after I finish those works. Today is the 2nd of September, and today I finished 2 works. The first work that I finished was a short story belonging to non-fiction short story collection, Love's Executioner and Other Psychotherapy Stories by Irvin D. Yalom. I read this short story in its Turkish translation, which was translated to Turkish with the same title, Aşkın, Celladı. In this non-fiction short story, Yalom is the psychotherapist to a 70-year-old woman. And she says that 8 years ago, her former psychotherapist and her had a passionate love affair. Yalom describes how his psychotherapy session went with this 70-year-old woman. The subject matter of this short story was very interesting, quite refreshing to see how a psychotherapist acted with a quite obsessive woman. To be honest, I wasn't a big fan of Yalom's writing style, but I still quite enjoyed this work, and I gave Aşkın, Celladı, The Love's Executionist by Irvin Yalom a 7 out of 10. And the second work that I finished was the audiobook that was a carryover from August. O Gece Gördüm Onu by Drago, Jancar. This book is told from 5 different characters who are all related to this woman, Veronica, who has been missing since 1944, and we hear how Veronica affected the lives of those 5 characters who are her ex-lover, her mother, her doctor friend, her housemate, and lastly her servant. This book was written very well, and I quite enjoyed the plot structure of the book. Although what happened to her stopped becoming a mystery in the second point of view, I was still engaged with the story and how much Veronica affected all of these people. Also trying to understand 5 different Veronicas from other points of view enriched the reading experience. Overall, I enjoyed this translated book very much, and I gave O Gece Gördüm Onu, That Night I Saw Her by Drago, Jancar, an 8 out of 10. Today is the 6th of September, and I finished a book for Shorty September, which was Söyleme, Bilmesinler by Şermin, Yaşar. In this book, we follow the perspectives of members of the family, the 3 sons, their wives, their father, and also some additional viewpoints to see the story from all angles. The story actually takes place in a matter of 1.5 days. This family, although they come together once a week, do not get along very well. The elder son takes care of their father, and all of the brothers are dealing with problems in their marriages, as well as their relationships with themselves and their fathers. That the family does not talk about their problems at all. Some of the characters decide to tell their secrets to each other. And through flashbacks, we learn more secrets. Like a chain reaction, many of the events start to follow, and all of the secrets do come out. I read middle grade books and short story collections from this author. And Şermin Yaşar is actually one of my favorite Turkish authors. And of course, I was curious about how her novel would be. It was even better than I expected. The writing style was very engaging and quite literary as usual. And also the novel was very cleverly structured. We learn more and more about the characters from their point of view, as well as the other characters' points of view. So it had a mysterious element as well, which is of course something that I love. The book kept me engaged and made me feel various kinds of emotions. I laughed out loud in some parts, and I cried in some sections. So I had a great reading experience, and I gave Söyleme, Bilmesinler by Şermin Yaşar a 9 out of 10. Today is the 7th of September and I finished 2 works today. The first book that I finished was a buddy read with Kristin, and it was a carryover from August. 3 Wishes by Liane Moriarty. This book is the debut novel of the author, and in this book we follow 3 sisters who are triplets, and in their 33rd birthday, during their annual birthday celebration, one of the sisters throws a fork at the other sister. From there, we go back in time and follow the perspectives of 3 sisters. Kat, who's having difficulty in her marriage with Dan because he admitted that he cheated on her with a young woman. Lynn, the organized and responsible sister who's trying to cope with the stress of founding a new catering job, being a stepmother, as well as being a mother of a toddler. And Gemma, a house sitter by profession, who's having trouble with having a relationship more than 6 months, but also is very attracted to a sensible handyman, Charlie. Kristin and I have been buddy reading Liane Moriarty books for a while. Those buddies have been very delightful, and this book was actually no exception. Like her other books, the characters are very complex and also quite flawed. The writing is engaging again, and there was a short chapter in the middle of the book which I found the writing to be amazing. I felt so much emotion for each of the 3 sisters. I think Moriarty gave the feeling of being a chaotic family very well. Although the plot elements were dramatic, some of the details were so natural, which made the book, I think, more relatable in many ways. This was a very pleasant reading and also buddy reading experience, and I gave 3 Wishes by Liane Moriarty an 8 out of 10. And the second book that I finished was Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village. This book was actually recommended to me by my dear friend Janelle, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. And to be honest, I had the courage to read it just now. In this non-fiction book, which describes how a typical English mystery works, was written in a very humorous way. But it was also, I think, a very good analysis of English village mystery books. And I saw many elements of Agatha Christie books in those analyses. While I was reading the book and smiling and sometimes laughing out loud, I heard the very lovely laughter of Janelle in my head, because I knew how much this would amuse her, much probably even more than myself. I want to thank her for recommending me this very delightful book. I would certainly recommend this one for readers who like mysteries, especially cozy mysteries taking place in English villages. So overall, I gave Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village by Maureen Johnson an 8 out of 10. Today is the 12th of September and I finished another book for both Series September and also Shorty September, which was the 11th book in Nancy Drew's mystery series by Carolyn Keene. I have been a part of Nancy Drew Read Along last year and I very much enjoyed it. When Mitzi stated in the group that she would like to read the 11th book, which was also the next book that I was supposed to read, I immediately wanted to join the group again. The Clue of the Broken Locket has 2 versions. The first one is the original 1934 version, whereas there is a 1965 version which tells a very different story than the original one. I found the original one in my application, and in this book a shady couple decide to adopt twins for quite shady reasons. Not to take care of them, but to use them as a part of their stage performance. And when Nancy meets the couple and finds the broken locket in the belongings of the twins. She decides to find the identity of the biological mother of the twins. Her intention increases even more when she finds a note supposedly from the biological mother telling them not to let this adoption happen. So Nancy, with the help of Bess and George, go through an adventure which leads them to discovering more about theater life and also some secrets from the town's past. Returning to the series after a significant period of time made me realize I really miss the fast-paced and engaging stories of Nancy Drew's series. Especially liked this one because the mystery was not as obvious as some of the previous books that I've read from this series. Of course, the inclusion of children also made me feel a bit more engaged in the welfare of the twins. Being a part of this wonderful group of ladies who love Nancy Drew was the best part of this reading experience. So overall, I gave The Clue of the Broken Locket by Carolyn Keene a 7 out of 10. Today is the 13th of September and I finished the book that I was buddy reading with Emily at Novel Novels, which was the fourth and the last book in Emily Chronicle series, Dear Miss Lake by A.J. Pearce. In this book, we continue to follow Emmy and her co-workers who's working with her in the Women's magazine between the middle of 1944 and the end of 1945. And as the end of the war becomes closer and closer, the magazine adapts their content accordingly. When Emmy's husband Charles is given a new assignment overseas, Emmy's life changes and she also has to adapt to this new reality in her life. After 4 books, I feel like that the characters in this book are also my friends. I love the relationship that Emmy has with all of her co-workers, their families, and especially her relationship with her best friend Bunty, also her manager, as well as her brother-in-law Guy. There is not even one character I find even annoying among them, because I feel so familiar with them. Their hardship also affects me, and especially in this book I read about a time period and a situation that I do not know much about, which also helped me to realize some other aspects of the war. The writing, like the previous books, was very clear and also, of course, quite impressive. This book made me feel very emotional, and I've shed a few tears while listening to it. I had a great time buddy reading this book with Emily, and we share love and admiration for this series particularly. This was a very, very pleasant and a good read, and I gave Dear Miss Lake by A.J. Pearce an 8 out of 10. So those were the 7 works that I finished in the first half of September. Please comment down below, have you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, and what did you think of them? If you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. For Turkish word of the day, I'm going to choose see. See means görmek in Turkish, and görmek is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.